I'm very glad to have in the studio Vince Esquire, whose birthday is this coming Saturday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You've been a part of our music scene here on Maui for 25 years, 30 years? 25 years, what?
Yeah, I started when I was on the scene at 13, and I'm gonna be 39. So I'm
Wow.
not the best at math, but I'm sure it's somewhere around there.
What were you doing at 13 years old?
Playing ukulele, I was part of Uncle George Kahumoku's youth ukulele group.
You weren't.
I was, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God, I didn't know that. I
Mm,
mean, of course, I know about Anthony Fluke and some of the others, but I didn't know you were one of that.
yeah, one of the very first ones. His Uncle George's son Kyoki
Uh huh.
had a youth ukulele group. Also had the youth ukulele contest at the Hula Grill. I don't know if you remember that.
I used to have a show at the Hula Grill, a TV
Yeah,
show called At the Grill
yeah. So they used
with
to have
Peter Merriman.
they had a ukulele contest there for kids, and I did that first, and that's where I met those guys, and I became part of that group, and that's kind of where I started. I was
I
13.
had never heard that story before.
Mm.
That's amazing. So when you formed, when did you form Kanekoa?
Right after kind of left that project, right after I left that youth group, because I was a little too progressive in
Yeah.
my playing for that. So
Uh-huh.
right after that ended, I met Kaulana and Travis at an open mic. Remember Mom's Cafe in Maui Mall? It used to be Sir Wilfred's, and then it was Mom's.
That's right.
Yeah, I met those guys there at an open mic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And that was before Jake Shimabukura started doing his crazy progressive stuff on ukulele.
Well, it was right around the same time. Jake was he was still our idol at that time, but he was with Pure Heart, and Pure Heart was bang right at blowing up right then. So
Hmm.
Jake was right. He was just when he had come out with them. So we were all listening to him and learning his stuff
Yeah.
at that time. Yeah.
So you've had a long run with them. You did many albums
Yeah.
with Kane, and you have Kanekoa playing this Saturday
This
at the
Saturday.
South Maui Gardens with you,
Mm.
and you're going to do that. And then also you're going to do some of your solo stuff as well before you go on to the next stage with onto the stage. It's probably the same stage, not the next stage. It's the same stage as Tony Castro,
Oh, with Tommy.
Tommy Castro. Sorry.
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna sit in with them.
Oh, you're
Uh,
not going to do a solo thing.
no,
Okay.
I'll do a set with Kanekoa, and then I'll do a couple of songs with Tommy's band. Yeah.
So, I have to say, a lot of rock and roll has really been about breaking rules.
Mm.
A lot of music. I think one of the reasons people like music is you kind of can break rules.
Yeah, you can do it. There are no rules as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
There's fundamentals. There's music fundamentals that you kind of have to know. But like fundamentals with anything, once you know them really well, you can rearrange them however you want.
Then you did some major tours with Connie Cohen, and you found that people loved what you were doing.
Yeah, the first time we went to the East Coast was last year when we played the Kennedy Center.
You didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
we played the Kennedy Center last March.
How I had no idea. Now,
Mhm.
how'd you set that up?
Our agent Karen Fisher,
Oh, she's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
she landed us that gig, and so we got to play the Millennium Stage. We had our own feature night. It was surprising. We weren't sure how many people were going to show up. I personally thought there was maybe going to be 50 people there.
Yeah.
Nobody knows us in DC. We'd never been there.
Yeah.
We had over 600 people show up.
Wow.
Filled the whole, the whole hallway, the whole, gathering area in front of the stage in the Kennedy Center in the foyer.
Was that some of that the people who love Hawaiian music and kind of were curious?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, and I think they have their regular ticket holders, kind of season ticket holders for those
Hmm.
kinds of things too. And it was those people, and yeah, but we were pleasantly surprised with the amount of people that came out.
It's kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And
Hmm.
and you've done the small clubs, obviously, and
Yep.
done all that.
Hmm.
And played on the West Coast, and I think you did Alaska.
We did Alaska twice. Yeah, been there twice now.
There's kind of an Alaska Hawaii connection.
Yeah, it's funny. We played there the first time, and we did this outdoor festival with this band. I can't remember what they were called, but I think the lead singer was from Hawaii and had moved over there, and they were literally like a Capenna cover band.
Oh my gosh.
It was like we were sitting in the parking lot listening and going, man, that sounds just like Capenna. They were doing all Capenna songs, and we were like, man, that sounds just like Capenna. It was great. Yeah, so there's definitely a connection.
So you do all that, and then you come back, and we have to realize that we don't have too many large venues.
No.
And unfortunately, a couple of the large venues we have are rather expensive to
Hmm.
try to do things at. Sometimes very price prohibiting. So you have to do others smaller,
Hmm.
which in some ways is good. I mean, on a smaller gig, I mean, not Kennedy Center, like you'll be doing at South Maui Gardens on Saturday. You have a more interaction with the audience.
Yeah. I prefer the intimate things when we're closer and can. I feel a lot of what we do is energetic exchange, and a lot of times if you're, I think the most people I've been in front of was about 45,000 at once. And when you get that many people, it's hard to connect energetically with that many people.
Yeah.
But when you're
Where were the 40? Where was that?
I was at Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic,
Oh,
2003
in
in
Texas.
Texas, in Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah, he invited me to play there. And it's just, it's hard to get your point across to that many people,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
But when you're in front of 200, 300, you can connect with people. I feel a little easier.
Yeah. Well, Willie just had a birthday about 3 weeks ago, turned 91.
Hmm.
And of course, a lot of people started talking about Kenny Blue,
Love that kid.
who had a chance to play at the gig that happened for the fundraiser for the fires. Was that November? Last
Yeah,
November at the
November.
Mac, yeah. And so you see something like that, and you go, yeah, you wouldn't have expected at a Willie Nelson kind of thing there'd be someone like Kenny
Yeah, well, I
doing it.
mean,
But
Willie did the same thing for Lucas and I because we were doing the exact same thing Kenny was doing when we were 16.
yeah,
So it's great to see the next generation. And I saw some
yes,
pictures from that night, and the look on Lucas's face when Kenny was playing in some of those pictures was just great because I could tell by the look in his face in those pictures that that's what we used to do. We were looking at a younger version of ourselves.
I was just talking to Marty Dredd, and he's going to Willie Nelson's studio in Texas to record his next album.
Oh, cool.
And I kind of have to wonder what Willie Nelson's studio would be like. I've never I don't know anyone else that's recorded at a studio in Texas, but it must be very interesting.
I'm gonna imagine it's state of the art,
You would
top of the
think,
line. Oh
right?
yeah,
You'd think.
yeah. Hmm.
So we were talking about the blues earlier on my other show, and I've always loved the blues. I was kind of when I was a teenager. Actually, I was listening a lot to the blues, and I was lucky enough being in Los Angeles sometimes where the small clubs would have the blues, and there was respect for that. And I think the respect has kind of grown. And I was just thinking about all the Maui musicians who do respect the blues, and we're talking some of the bigger name artists as well.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of them played at the Willie K Blues Festival as
Hmm.
well, right? Did you ever play at any of those?
No,
You
I
didn't get
never
to play?
did. No, I didn't. I didn't get the invite.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty amazing, and I was always impressed that Mick Fleetwood put out a blues album.
Yeah,
It probably didn't sell that well,
probably not.
probably not, but it was good blues,
But it
right?
was good blues. Yeah,
Have you ever done just a blues album? Have you ever thought of doing a blues
great
album?
blues. The last album I did with my guitar was "Don't Let Up," and that was pretty blues oriented. And that was 3 or 4 years ago now.
Hmm.
I may do another one in the future. I'm actually working on a funk project right now.
A funk project.
Yeah, I'm doing a funk ukulele album.
Well, that's
And
fun.
I've got members from Prince. I've got Prince's band on it. I've got Corey Wong's band on it. I've got the best funk players in the world on this record that's coming out in the
Is it
fall.
going to have horns?
Yes. I've got couple of the best horn sections on the planet
Was that
arranging.
through Steve Berlin? Did he
One of
have
them,
it?
yep, he hooked me up with a horn section, and the other one is through Michael Ruff. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this project, though.
I mean, what's your favorite funk blues musician and album that you can think of?
I haven't really been listening to that much blues lately. I've been listening to a lot of funk, like a lot of Tower of Power.
Well, that was the great stuff. What is hip?
Yeah,
Or
man, Tower of Power. I love Corey
what
Wong.
about
His band
Bruno
is
Moore?
amazing.
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars is a little poppy for me. I
Yeah.
like James Brown, high
Yeah.
energy, high funk music.
Yeah.
Like real funk music. Yeah,
And that kind of music, of course, is great for dancing.
yeah. That's the epitome of it. If you don't get people dancing with funk, you ain't doing it right.
It's true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's soul in it, right?
Yeah, James Brown.
James Brown?
Yeah,
Did you ever
100%.
get to see James Brown?
No,
Oh.
I wish.
There was this show in Los Angeles. It was one of those music shows where they had the different major groups, and I was somehow invited to one of them. it was weird. Maria Muldaur, who was big way back with
Hmm.
Midnight at the Oasis,
Yep.
and then there was James Brown, and I was there, and it's like I had never seen anything like that live. My God.
I was able to work. I worked for a bit with his musical director, Fred Wesley, the JB Horns,
Hmm.
Pass the Peas, all that stuff. Yeah, Fred Wesley. I did a recorded on an album of mine when I was in my early 20s.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, so I do have again a little 6 degrees of separation from James Brown working with Fred.
So, are you
So
going to do classic tunes or news?
all original.
All original.
Yeah, it's all the whole out. It's going to be 8 songs and they're all originals.
Well,
Some are
that's fun.
instrumentals. A couple of them have lyrics. And
A lot of that is in production, isn't it?
yeah,
The key to a lot of that is production.
yeah,
It has to be tight, 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 doesn't it?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
It's got to be, the horns have to be tight, everything has to be tight. And then you have, with all of that tight music,
Hmm.
the chance to do the soul stuff,
Yeah,
right?
and that's why I literally went out and hired and found the best players on the planet that do this
Wow.
music. Literally,
Really?
Prince's ex rhythm section.
Was it hard getting a hold of some of those people?
Not with Instagram. It's pretty easy with Instagram and the online presence that I have with my own music. It's a little bit easier to get people's attention.
So did you literally go to Instagram and just after a post they put and you said, I'd like to do a song with you?
Yeah, I sent them a direct message, and I'm working on this project. What do I got to do to get you on a song? So
And they
easy.
actually responded.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. And then, but the thing is, the material you send them has to be good enough for them to
Oh,
want to do it, right?
absolutely.
So thankfully, I have the solid material to send these people. They're like, done.
Well,
they'll send
and
it back.
credentials
Yeah.
of
So
people you
basically,
played
it's
with.
all remote, right? They're all sending. I send them the track. They send me back the tracks, and that's it.
That's impressive,
Yeah.
When you do it that way, the sky can be the limit. I mean, I just didn't really think that big name or people who are at that level would respond.
Yeah. Totally.
That's impressive.
Mhm.
So you have to have a good website, or does that matter?
social media.
It's just what
My
your
Instagram, yeah. So I have a guy named Andrew Goucher on bass. He played with Prince. I have a guy named Michael Bland cutting drums soon. He was Prince's drummer in the New Revolution. And so I've got amazing players.
Did you go to that Prince concert when it happened here? in Maui?
No, I didn't. I wish.
One of the best
I
concerts
wish.
I've ever seen.
Man, I wish I would have gone.
And I don't go to a lot of concerts because I'm spoiled and I'm used to going and knowing it backstage, and you don't get that here
Right.
that much. And oh my God, I was blown away. I went, I don't believe this.
At that time, I was more into blues. So now that I'm more into funk, I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have gone. But
Well, I wasn't really a big fan because I mean, Purple Rain, it's like,
Right.
but when he was on stage, he was on fire. My God, the energy and what he put out
One of
was
the
like
best.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Really.
One of the best.
And he did live here part time.
Right. For a while, yeah.
Yeah. According to Rock Hendricks, he stayed up in his house sometimes up there,
Nice.
and he actually put in purple lighting, and it was a purple kind of room with purple lighting. It's like, I don't know. But Maui's got a lot of sides to it. It's got a lot of stuff, but I think you've been around it a long time, and you realize that there is this deep respect from musician to musician
Sure.
that happens.
Hmm.
When you do a gig like this Saturday, it's cool to have Tommy Castro and also have like Gretchen Rhodes playing and you playing, and that magic can happen when you get a group like that together, right? When you get together with that and you just like let it rip,
Sure.
you can have really cool stuff happening.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you just never know. You never know. That's how other bands are formed.
That's true.
That's how people get invited to go on tours. If with another band, let's say they jam together, something happens. Oh, let's go do a tour.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I really hadn't thought about it that way that much.
Hmm.
But yeah, that is true. I mean, I think of all the times Marty got to play with Willie, right? Just because Marty's a cool dude.
Yeah. It presents other opportunities often.
And he got to, yeah,
Yeah.
and that is absolutely right. And you're doing Kanekoa opening. When you do a gig like this, and it's your birthday and you want to be right, how many songs do you put together and how do you decide what you want to play?
The thing about Kanekoa is we never have a set list.
I love it.
We just go up there and we feel the crowd and we just go by the crowd. So we'll never know what we're going to play. For that show, I have no idea what we're going to do.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what? I love it because I'll tell you, people try to be so contained and make it so controlled that you'd lose that spontaneity. And spontaneity, brings out some of the best in music.
That's where the magic is.
It is. It's right where the magic
It's
is.
the improvisation and the spontaneity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's that spark of like, oh, you've got to come up with something there, and you want to come up with something, and everyone's ready to, let's make this happen, but you don't limit. If you have a set list, you already are thinking what that song's going to be like and how you do that and that and that. But but what would Keith Richard do with his set list? You ever seen Keith Richards write his set list down?
Yep.
And I looked at one of his artworks of writing the list, and I thought, boy, that's pretty limiting.
Mm-hmm.
In the early days of the Rolling Stones, it was a lot freer and a lot more, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing about a set list, too, is if you write one, you have to be prepared to pivot from it anyway. Because let's say you do a song and everybody's dancing, and then the next song is slow. You want to keep everybody dancing, you got to pivot from that next slow song into something that's going to keep the crowd going, right? So even if you have a set list, it's good to know how to pivot from it.
Well, that's a very, very key point. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You've been with Kanekoa, and you've had that group together how many years? 20 years?
26.
So,
27.
So there's a chemistry that you have with the group. A lot of great groups and really good groups can't deal with egos and stuff. And if broken up, as you know, there's always been some like, oh, God, I can't handle that person's ego. Even the Rolling Stones, right? Mm-hmm. It was that, remember that split?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So in that amount of time, how do you hold a group together, in your opinion?
Well, the group has gone through many transformations over this amount of time. We've had people in the band come and go. Then the core has always been myself and Kaulana. We've always kept it going in some form or another. Even when it got stripped down, everybody had left the band, everybody was gone. Him and I found a duo gig at Stella Blues, and we kept it going as Kanekoa, know. And then Travis came back to the island. He had been gone. His wife was in school. He came back in, and it reformed into what it is now. And then we needed a bass player, so we called Uncle Don, and now we are what we are. And even since, even a little while ago, we went through a transition. Travis left the band again to take care of some family stuff. We had Lopaka Cologne come in and fill in for a little while, and then that ended, and then Travis came back, so now we're back with Travis again. So it's like, it's been together a long time, but it's gone through a lot of transformations too.
Yeah. The Nahoku Hanahano final ballot is out. You're on it. You're in what? You have 3 nominations?
3 nominations. Honestly, it's funny because I totally forgot that I had submitted anything into the Hokus this year, and then I heard a few days ago I had made the ballot, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, so we have 3 instrumental album of the year. I produced an album, my own album last year. It was called Tasty Jams Volume 1, a bunch of smooth jazz instrumental original pieces. And then Kanekoa's Make Any Kind Christmas is nominated for Christmas Album of the Year. And then I made the ballot for on a production I did for my friend Danielle Alana. Her album Soul Love is up for Rock Album of the Year, and she's nominated also for Most Promising Artist of the Year.
I love her, and I just think it's wonderful. You have been producing people who need that extra help getting an album out that they want to do. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of being able to receive direction and also collaboration.
Yeah, and
doing that.
Yeah, and their trust in me. They have. That's what I really appreciate most about working with these people is how much they just actually trust my opinion and follow it.
I don't think most people, unless they've done it, know how hard it is to do an album.
It's pretty hard. It's a labor-intensive process.
More than people realize, and then there's all of that getting it finally in the stage to distribution. And I have to say, you told me something that I've been following your advice. I happen to hate what's happened to CD Baby. I think AI has taken over CD Baby. I did like 12 albums with CD Baby, and it's gone. When COVID happened, they dropped the phones. Well, a lot of people did that. They never brought it back, and then they cut out that, and it's gotten so bad that I know a lot of really good musicians who used to use it are just saying it's impossible anymore. Yeah. Some of the things that their AI puts out, I say, well, what are you talking about?
Right.
I tried to put it out with this last album, Aloha Forever, and they're saying you can't have a featured artist also be a primary artist on an album.
What?
I know. I'm going, that makes absolutely no sense.
What?
I know. And I'm going, and then I tried to do something. It's like, no, you got to do this. It's like, so I went to DistroKid. Mm-hmm. You're the one that told me about DistroKid. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Things that were taking a month and a half and getting sent back, and even after you get it okayed, it would be another 3 weeks till it got distributed, mm-hmm. are now going out on DistroKid in a week.
Yeah. sometimes within days. Yeah.
It changes the game.
Yeah. It's they set everything up perfectly to make it very user friendly for artists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I think that there's a lot of people going, I know some people are using TuneCore.
Yeah,
And
TuneCore is a little bit
it's-
older, and it does kind of the same thing, but it also has the issues that CD Baby had with the distribution.
Is
They're
it?
very finicky about certain things, and they'll kick it back.
Oh,
And
I
it just
didn't know
takes
that.
time.
Oh,
DistroKid, they're a little more lenient, and not only that, but I feel the DistroKid explains themselves
yes.
and the process a little easier.
Yes.
So you don't make the mistakes to have it get kicked back.
Yeah.
They explain it to what to do exactly and this and that.
When
and
I
so-
first used it, I was very nervous because I'm going, well, where do I put all the information? But you put up your music and then you put all the credits. But when you get to the credits, as you said, is the reason you're using it, you can mention thank yous. You can mention all kinds of who did the mixing, who did the mastering, all the musicians. And so it gives you that opportunity you don't get on other sites.
You can also do all your profit splits through DistroKid.
Yes.
You can do all your publishing splits, everything right there.
Yeah.
Right, and right before you submit the music, right? So as soon as it goes out, all your splits with everybody you might have co-produced, co-written with, it all is automatically taken care of.
So, yeah, thank you for that
They will
recommendation.
also, one more thing about that I
Yeah.
love about DistroKid is they will also handle licensing fees for cover songs.
I didn't know that.
So if you want to release a cover song, this is how I did
Yeah.
all the Christmas album through
Yeah.
DistroKid because a lot of those were covers. So extra $25 fee per song, they'll go get the cover license, the rights
Not.
for it. Yep,
That's a game changer.
100%.
I
Most
think it was
people don't know
called
that.
Easy Music or something. But
That's
then
another one, but you can
But
do
they
it right
wanted
through
to know
distro.
how many songs, how many plays you'll get, and that's how you pay. But how do you know how many plays you're going to get before you do an album? You can't
You
know.
can't. Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So DistroKid was awesome about handling licensing for covers.
That's great to
Yeah,
know.
they'll just do it. They'll do it right there. You fill in the songwriter, pay the $25, and
Wow.
they'll send you a licensing
Game
number
changer.
for it. Yeah.
So if people want to reach out to you to do production or anything like that, how do they reach you?
Social media is the best. Either Facebook. Facebook I'm on, and Instagram I'm on pretty regularly. And it's just Vince Esquire 1985 on Instagram or Vince Esquire on Facebook.
You're looking for a new place to live?
Yeah, totally.
Someone has a great place?
Yeah, just looking for a 1-bedroom, Just hit me up if there's anybody that knows of anything that's kind of secluded and always looking.
And you play this Saturday?
This Saturday at South Maui Gardens with Kanekoa and Tommy Castro and the Painkillers.
So what do you want people to bring you as a birthday gift?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know, that foot-long chocolate chip cookie from Subway sounds pretty good.
You just need a candle or two.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great talking to you, Vince.
Thank you, Cindy, so much. I really appreciate you.
A big aloha.